So what would you say is the biggest challenge you're facing right now?
Probably just doubting myself because I have so little time comparatively because I only have a month till my LSAT. Um, so just doubting that I'll be able to get a good enough score.
I understand. What other obligations do you have between now and then?
Really nothing. I don't have a job or anything right now, so I'm just focusing on the LSAT solely.
Okay, cool. So you really have enough time to make anything happen, but it seems like just the time of, let's say, 5-6 hours a day over the next month or so, maybe even a little bit less than a month at this point, you're feeling like it's not enough. So what do you feel that you need right now in order to unlock the insights? Or what's holding you back in terms of certain struggles areas that you're facing?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm feeling good when I start doing going through your program and everything. I've gone through some logic games, feeling good in certain areas, and then a different kind of one that I haven't done will pop up, and I'm just like, I don't know what I'm doing here. So I think I just need to try to round out my skill a little bit better with the different questions.
Yeah. How long have you been studying for?
Probably 4 or 5 days now.
So you started LSAT prep 4 or 5 days ago overall?
Yes.
Okay, so then let me ask, why November?
For scholarship opportunities. I didn't really realize at the beginning of the year, took a year off to focus and try to figure out what I wanted to do. I didn't realize that a lot of the scholarships and deadlines for that is December.
What kinds of scholarships are these?
I'm applying for 2 colleges around me, and that's just when they said is the best time to get in your application. First come, first serve scholarships. So
Yeah, I hear that.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So here's the thing, though. I mean, you've got on the one hand, getting the highest LSAT score possible, which then maximizes your odds of getting those scholarships. On the other hand, you have applying earlier, which also helps to maximize your scholarships. But there's a tough dilemma here because on the one hand, the earlier you apply, you win on the timing, but you might not get the LSAT score you need. If you apply later, you'll get a higher score, but you'll be a little bit later for the scholarships. So these two things are kind of at odds with each other. That's the issue I'm seeing here. And so the question is, could you still take in January, get a higher score, and still have the chance of getting some scholarship money? Because you initially said deadlines for scholarships earlier, but then I heard you change the wording and say you had the best odds applying earlier. So is this a hard deadline, or are we just talking about the general admissions process whereby applying earlier is typically better, but in my view at least, applying later with a higher score makes a difference?
I think it depends between the schools. There were a few deadlines that you had to get in before January 1st or something like that around that time, but then other ones had more of an open end.
Yeah. I mean, it's tough to do all the LSAT prep in a month or so. I mean, you said 4 to 5 days ago, we're speaking now, what's today's date? It's the 12th. So that means you're giving yourself exactly 1 month from, let's say, October 8th to November 8th-ish, whenever you take your exact flex test. I don't recommend trying to do the entire LSAT in a month. It's too complicated. It just is. I recommend a minimum of 2 to 3 months and ideally 5 to 6 months to reach your fullest potential. But to do it all in a month would be really doing yourself a disservice. And yes, you might not be able to get certain scholarships because if you go for January, you pass the deadline. But for plenty of other schools where they don't have a deadline, yes, all else being equal, earlier would have been better. But applying later with a higher score can make a huge difference.
Even if I had more of an average LSAT score, nothing great, but nothing too bad, and an average GPA, would my personal statement help me kind of stand out, maybe push me a little bit farther, or is that LSAT score really just the main focus?
Well, generally speaking, it's LSAT score, GPA, and then everything else. So the soft
Okay.
factors like the personal statement, they're not going to be as impactful, but they could certainly still help.
Okay.
So you want to do everything you can to get the best personal statement possible, but LSAT's going to make the biggest difference.
Right. And then because I'm only doing it in a month, maybe change that later. Even as I'm going through your schedule and I want to work a little bit more through that, would it be better to even focus on one thing after I finish, the schedule for the day? Should I go back and maybe focus on one area? Should I do more work in each individual area? Does that make sense?
Good question. I mean, you've got 5 to 6 hours a day since you're able to study full time. So I'd recommend a couple hours in the morning, a couple hours in the afternoon, have that be it. You don't want to burn out. You don't want to try and cram this. So as for what you do, it's all good. I mean, you want to do a mix of sections to change it up a little bit. Let's say you get fatigued or frustrated with logic games, switch to logical reasoning and cycle around. Ultimately, it doesn't matter that much what the exact ratios are on a given day. You just wouldn't want to spend an entire 2 weeks out of these 4 doing one section and then get rusty on the others or not devote enough time to others.
Okay. Don't cram.
Yeah, don't cram.
Okay. And then I don't know a lot about the LSAT Flex. Is that just at your home?
Yeah, so it's at home on a computer. They watch you with a webcam and a microphone for security purposes. And so you just want to make sure you have a good internet connection, that your background doesn't have any LSAT books laying open. I've got plenty of material on the LSAT Flex inside the course and plenty on the YouTube channel as well.
Okay. Yeah, I've been trying to go through all of your things and just try to figure out what I can ask questions on. I'm like, no, he has 4 videos on that. You don't need to, don't need to ask about it. Okay. And then I think really my only other question is after the LSAT, after I take that, is there anything you recommend doing before going to school to help prepare? Because I have so much time before I would go. I have January to August.
Oh, before you go to law school?
Mm-hmm.
There's some great books out there. There's the book Getting to Maybe, which is highly well reviewed. So look that up. There's a ton of law school prep resources out there. There are some classes, there are some courses, but also even just the prep books could probably be enough.
Oh, okay. Alrighty. I think that's about it.
Cool. Well, I'm really glad we connected, Kate. Before we sign off, what would you say is the biggest insight you got from our call today?
I feel more confident about what I'm doing and I'm on the right track to doing well in the LSAT.
Fantastic. Well, keep at it and let me know if you need anything moving forward. I'm happy to help.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks for tuning into the show. Please subscribe if you haven't done so already to be notified of new episodes as I release them. And feel free to reach out if you need anything at all as you move forward with your prep. I'm happy to help however I can. In the meantime, I wish you all the best and take care.